everybody, welcome back to my channel, and it's hearing loss week. If you saw yesterday's video, but you should definitely go check it out. Every single day this week I am uploading a video concerning hearing loss, and I'm really excited about it because you guys love these videos. So today we're going to be talking about relationships, friendships, all that good stuff, and how it's different having a hearing loss and how to deal with it. So without further ado, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get started. So this one is actually a very common topic that I get a lot of questions about because it is hard. I mean, making friends in general is hard, and hanging out with people and fitting in and doing all these social things is hard, and I get it. It's hard in general for any regular person, but when you can't hear things, it is absolutely 100% worse. I think I've gotten really good at this, but I was definitely not always good at this. I definitely got really bullied in school. Like, you guys could not believe the kind of stuff that was said to me. I got really bullied. People hated me and all this stuff, and most of it was because I just did not understand a single word coming out of their mouth, and I didn't know how to convey that to them, and part of that is just being young and figuring things out. But there's definitely things that you can do to make your life easier. So the first thing, and probably the biggest thing in this video, is that you just have to tell people right off the bat. Now in my life, I'm at the point where I don't really care. I have my set friends, I'm really confident in who I am and all of that stuff in situations. So I don't really tend to tell people that I can't hear very well unless I absolutely have to have a conversation with them or have to do group work with them or something like that. I usually just don't tell people, and that's just what I do. But if you're trying to meet people and make friends and stuff like that, you need to tell them, especially when they say something to you, or just a random stranger comes up to you in class and says something and you just nod and say yes and walk away. That's just not really how you should handle things, because that's how I did it back in the day. You should tell them, hey, I wear hearing aids, I can't hear anything, can you please say it again? And they will. People are nicer than they seem, and then you never know, something great could blossom out of that. But yeah, that's definitely the first thing. It's just in school or any other situation, work, whatever, you need to tell them that you can't hear anything, because if you don't tell them that, they're gonna think that you are ignoring them or making fun of them, and then they're not gonna like you or hang out with you, which is really sad. So you're gonna have to tell them. My second tip would be to not put yourself in situations where you're setting yourself up for failure. So don't say yes to going to that big party or going to that big social event at a restaurant. You definitely shouldn't say no to those things, but that shouldn't be your first choice. If you're gonna hang out with someone for the first time, or just even now I do this with my friends that I've known for years, just hang out one-on-one, alone, in your house or in a coffee shop or in a private area, or if you're meeting up on campus, don't go to the really busy Starbucks. Maybe go to the place down the street that's a little quieter, so you're setting yourself up for success, so you can actually build relationships with these people instead of just being there. There's a big difference between just being there with a person and actually being in it and being able to respond and have meaningful conversations. So set yourself up for success in the first place, and once people get to know you, they'll automatically suggest things that are setting you guys up for success. If you do find yourself at a party, which you shouldn't now because of COVID, but in the future, if you do find yourself in a party or a really super crowded, loud situation and someone trying to talk to you, don't continue the conversation if it's not working out. Ask them to move to another room, ask them to go outside. It's not inconvenient for them, especially if they're having a conversation with you and you're not responding properly because you can't understand anything. Just literally leave and go somewhere else. I don't know why I used to be so scared to do that. I was no, I'll just stay in this situation where I'm just smiling and nodding to everything that they're saying, and they're just looking at me like I'm really crazy. I was just scared to do that. I was oh my god, people are gonna hate me. People don't hate you. It's really just not that hard or inconvenient. Just ask them to leave. Just ask them to go to another room with you and continue the conversation. It'll be great. Another thing that friends tend to do a lot is whisper. I don't know why people do this. I was at a theater performance literally last month at my school, and we were watching this theater performance, and this girl, during the show, she leaned over to me and she tried to whisper. I was normally I would have just looked at her and smiled and nodded, because that's just how I got through life. But I just looked at her, I was dude, I just I can't hear anything. She was like, oh, okay. So she just told me after the show. Don't pretend to hear things and don't pretend to respond falsely if you have no idea what's being said. Nowadays, if you don't know what you're responding to, don't respond to it because you could be canceled forever. Are you sensing that the main theme of this video is just make sure the other person is aware? I actually find that having a hearing loss makes relationships more meaningful and deeper, because a lot of times people just hang out in big groups and they do things like that where they don't have meaningful conversations, and it's also the people that you hang out with. But I find that because I have to make sure I'm in better environments, it's a much more meaningful conversation, and I love hanging out one-on-one with people rather than in a group setting just because it's easier to navigate. That's what I found, that's what I do, and hey, it works for me. I love that I get to sit down with the person for a couple hours and get to know them and get to know people on a deeper level. I think that's what it lends itself to. So even if you're like, oh my gosh, like I never get to be a part of the conversation at the party or whatever, if you're making the effort to have a relationship with someone and you're just there one-on-one, it's actually way better. Trust me on this, way better. So don't be discouraged. Don't get FOMO of missing out on a conversation in a party, because I guarantee you they're not talking about anything interesting. Sometimes you will get a lot of anxiety from going out in public and talking to people, or your anxiety will even stop you from having relationships in the first place, and it is just very, very mentally exhausting. Every single person that you choose to be friends with is so much effort, and I get that, but it's really worth it. It's important to make sure that you're putting yourself in situations where you will be successful, and that is the main key. And also just don't give up, because some people will just not want to talk to you because they just think you suck as a person, which is fine. Like, not everybody is gonna like you, but with some people you just gotta tell them and they'll understand, and things will go from there. Don't just not tell people. You have to tell people, otherwise it's just not gonna be good. If my friends didn't know I had a hearing loss, I would be pretending to watch TV with them because they wouldn't have put the closed captioning on, and that's just like what I need to survive. So just things like that. Think about the best relationship that you have in your life and why that works, and what situations you put yourself in with that person to make it work, and apply that to every single situation and you'll be fine. So that was the video. I hope you guys learned something from it. I always think that I have to make these like really long, drawn out videos with a ton of tips and tricks and all this stuff, but when it really comes down to it, there's really not much to it. Just be yourself and don't hide things from the other person and it'll work out. And just don't give up. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow with another video. Bye!